So we're giving to you a lot more of the playbacks from that very event, the launch, national campaign launch of the NDC. What's your own assessment, just having listened, since you didn't watch?
No, I didn't, because I don't have a television in my kitchen. And so you were keeping company on the radio. I think it was well coordinated. I don't know if what even I listened from radio to,
you could feel, yes, on the screen. So it looked, and we spoke to a number of political scientists yesterday, and they said it was almost like a show of force to kind of negate or also give an indication to the MPP and its flag bearer, who have been going around the country with massive support from their sympathizers and members across the country. And it just gave the indication that, well, they're government in power, a party in power, but also they still have the people. That kind of insight.
I know that we're going to be speaking to some experts on this issue, but one of the observations was the, if you like, the show of unity and the stress on the fact that all these executives, we elected them during Congress and they are still here with us today. More like rubbing it in the face and telling you that, look at the biggest opposition, our opponents can, boast of the same.
I think if you take a look at it, it's to take a jibe or take a dig at the biggest opponents they have, the MPP, and try to create that level of disaffection, of disunity that is perceived to be in the MPP, and then try to capitalize on it. Because if people tend to measure how well they want to do an assessment of a ruling government, then they'll do that based on what their circumstances are. And the economic indices have not favored government at all, because people tend to live their lives daily. And we've had untold hardship on people many of the times. And so the first thing, if they are always reminded by the opposition about the state of their livelihood, will be how they're able to live, they're able to cope every day through the drudgeries of the hard times that we're facing. And they try to negate that with the problems of disunity, perceived non-alliance or non-alignment of the members or the factions of the MPP, trying to say they build a lot more infrastructure and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. But it just gave a sense of how the party is ready for the campaign nonetheless, and how they are still a show of force, and they could lock horns with the MPP when it comes to election 2016.
I think I asked a question earlier about whether the NPP was also going to launch its campaign in this way. Is their campaign officially launched? Because we know that they're doing a lot of campaigning, they're doing a lot of underground work, but would they say that officially they've launched?
I think from what the dynamics have been between the two parties, the NPP would want to do a big one. And you remember last week we had Sami Uku, who is national youth organizer of the MPP, in the studio, and he said they were waiting for the NDC, and I think they will also do a launch or some kind of event to start or signify the start of campaigning. And then when the NDC also launches their manifesto, and MPP will also follow through.
And now they've given us, the NDC has given us a certain timeline, 2 weeks. Is it plus or negative? So we know that we can work with a 2-week period where they'll bring out their manifesto.
I'm told that I didn't listen particularly well, that it will be in Sunyani also.
Yes, it will be in Sunyani. I listened to that portion, when General Mosquito spoke. But some people were also wondering, how do you formally launch your campaign without the book or the policies that you're going to be campaigning on? Or, they can get away with the fact that this is a governing party, they're already doing things, they already have a green book, if you like. So it's more of tell the people what we've done, tell the people what we intend to do, and why they should retain us.
And it's good that you raise that point, because when the general secretary of the party was in the studio, we asked that same question, and he said that they've always not launched same time or simultaneously. their campaign and then their manifesto, and he reiterated that very point yesterday too. I think it's part of the strategy of trying to buy time, because it's a long period to the election. A lot of things could happen before that time.
It's true.
It's true.
Well, do you feel that we're in the political season now? Yesterday I felt it. I really felt it. Massive crowd. There was a lot of jama. And the chanting and how to get the people on, and the various people singing as well. And I thought, okay, I'll go and cut all the singing, all the people who were singing, all the singing stuff. It was kind of cool, you know. But Rana, we're going to be speaking to a political scientist shortly, right?
You say?
We're going to be speaking to a political scientist shortly.
Yes, very shortly. We'll try and speak to Dr. Edward Brenya. He is a senior political science lecturer with the Department of Political Science, KNUST. He was with us the latter part of yesterday and did great analysis with us. We'll also be speaking to him. But we know that the police had been ruffling people's feathers with the talk about a likely ban on social media, etc. Not something they taken as a case in point to do, but the president, I believe, also following pressures from Let My Vote Count and its leader David Asante, whether there should be a ban or not, made a statement on it, and we would want to watch what the president said about it. Okay, so the president was emphatic that there will be no ban on social media.
I've heard some people also say that the police is supposed to be an independent institution. Why don't you let government institutions work? If that's what the IGP see from where he is, and that's what he intends to do should things get out of hand, then why should you step in way ahead of the polls and say that we're not going to ban social media? So two sides even to this. It's refreshing to hear the president reassure that this won't happen. But what if for the IGP and the police service, this is one of the options on the table for them?
We'll see how that goes. But for me, the question I kept asking when all this talk, especially from the stables of the police, and now transitioning into mainstream media about a likely ban on social media, was the fact that we have good internet penetration, we're climbing up the numbers, but do we have enough for which we are going to have a rallying point if there should be any disturbance or perhaps uncensored news or speculation on social media on election day, for which people can rally around and then do all the things that they have to do? It's a question. And we have David Asante of Let My Vote Count on the phone to speak to us on their pressure on social media ban. And a very good morning to you, David.
Good morning to you, Roland.
Yeah, and it's good. We met over the weekend.
Yeah, we did. I'm impressed. You are so active on set this morning.
Well, just
David, he's paid well.
Well,
just like you too, I think that's the most appropriate thing too. We're all working for the service of our country, aren't we?
Absolutely.
Now,
good morning to Mama B.
Good morning, David.
And now, what do you make of the president now having an emphatic position on whether there will be a ban or not on social media?
Thank you very much, Ro. Let me say good morning to our viewers, and then good morning to your good selves.
Morning to you.
Well, we are happy as Let My Vote Count Alliance, and of course, the vast majority of Ghanaians who have once expressed fear about the threat from the IGP to ban social media. And of course, we had also picked intelligence that it was not only going to be social media, but also there were some media houses who were going to suffer blackout. We spoke and said it is not enough for the Interior Minister to come out and say IGP will not ban, but let the President take the opportunity to make an emphatic statement, because His Excellency is going to be part of this election as a candidate. So anything that will cast doubt on the integrity and credibility of the elections must not be in his interest. It is refreshing that the President made an emphatic statement at the program yesterday in Cape Coast that the government will not ban social media. Mr. President, we thank you. This is refreshing. We hope you keep to your words.
But how critical will social media be, do you think, or in your estimation, to making sure that there's an aggregation of a lot more of the issues on the platform, that's a social media platform?
Yes, the point is that, Roland, you would agree with me, we have traveled from quite a far place to our current destination. If indeed we started voting in this country when we even got to multi-party democracy just in recent 1992, and we were doing opaque ballot boxes, we have traveled very far through transparent ballot boxes, biometric verification and all that. As it stands now, there is a possibility election result of the 2016 elections will be transmitted electronically. This is going to be cyber game. Election 2016 will revolve so much around cybernetics. So for the security services to at any point in time contemplate shutting down social media, what it means is that all of us are going to be kept in the dark, and one single entity would reserve the right exclusively to determine who has won and who lost. And I do not think that will augur well for our democracy. That will be backward, and really, it will be bad for our democracy. So the point here is that I get the opportunity to go to a local polling station, and elections are going on. After the elections, we are told you need to see all the 29,002 polling stations pink sheet before final result declaration. Then the Electoral Commission or a body sits in Accra to tell me my party scored 100 in a polling station way back in Chuchuga. It will take somebody to take a snapshot and send a WhatsApp to me to confirm or deny what the EC is claiming in Accra. Violence can constantly be reported on social media even before the security services take practical intelligence. So if these are the practical contributions social media has in the past done to our elections, then for a simple reason that there is a perception social media has been used to create panic, we want to shut down the system. Possibly there could have been a lot more reason why the contemplation even setting in the first place. But as far as we are concerned, the Electoral Commission itself as an entity that manages election in this country in 2012 declared election results on their official Facebook site before they held the press conference. What has changed? All the presidential aspirants have Facebook pages, private and public, with over 200,000 followers. They communicate with them. They send them messages. They make them follow them, and they update them various daily activities. On election day, you want to cut out your 200,000 supporters so they don't know you are losing, or so they don't know you are winning. There must be a lot more reason why the mere threat to shut down social media ever set in the mind of the security services personnel.
And that is why it makes you apprehensive. But do you also not agree, David, that there's a possibility that social media could also be used to create some level of disharmony, but also some chaotic atmosphere of some animosity status if perhaps we don't control it adequately?
I agree. There must be control measures. I wholly agree with you. There has been a few excesses. People have shared fake results of elections on Facebook. But the good news is that it is only the Electoral Commission who reserves the exclusive right and the constitutional mandate to declare results. So I can go to my Facebook wall and say my candidate has won and put results out there. But it is the EC who has the final mandate and constitutional right. So really, if I turn results on my Facebook page, or if I blast some WhatsApp containing results that I think are genuine, it will not be superimposed over that of the Electoral Commission. So if we will say to ourselves, because I was driving from Tema to the office, I saw a car that had just been involved in an accident. So because of that, we're going to walk from Tema to my office in Accra. It's very impossible, and it doesn't make practical sense for us to say because of one single awful incident, we're going to write off the abundant use and positive impact social media has had on our fledgling democracy. It's unthinkable and untenable. There are excesses. That notwithstanding, we need to look at the positives and maximize them. And we say social media will play active role in election 2016 and beyond. Anybody who ever contemplates banning social media, not on any day, but on election day, must have an ungodly ulterior motive. That is why we say it is refreshing the president has made an emphatic statement. He will not ban it.
Well, David, good to hear from you. From what you're saying, there are a lot more advantages for social media than there are for disadvantages, aren't there?
And And on that ungodly
note, we have to leave you for a very godly morning. Enjoy the time. David Asante is a convener for Let My Vote Count Alliance, speaking to us on the president's words he echoed at the launch of the national campaign for the 2016 general elections by the NDC in Cape Coast in the central region. But we also know that that subject about social media had ignited a lot of debate, not only on social media but also on mainstream media as well, and many of the comments have been varied, and that is why we try as much as possible to bring you some interesting views from those who are either proponents or stakeholders in the current election that is going to be convened in December, but also bring you a more analytical perspective on the subject. We have a senior lecturer with the political science department of the University of Science and Technology, Kwame Nkrumah Science, Dr. Edward.
It's KNUST now.
KNUST. I think that's better to say that. So he's on the line, Mamavi.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Thanks for joining us again today. Good job yesterday. But, you know, the crowd was massive. The support, you could feel it. Can that translate to a one-touch win for the NDC? Hello, sir.
Well, we seem to have had the line dropping. And please get interactive as always. 0560 is the number.
That's a very diabolic question, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a very difficult question to answer. And yesterday, all the political analysts in the studio, Malik Dabo, we also had Dr. Ali Duseidu, and then Dr. Edward Brenya said it's almost like too close to call, and too early to make a prediction, so to speak. But the truth is that both the MPP and NDC seem to be at the forefront of what they want for this very race. And the money is on the two of them to pull the win.
Well, we wait to see. Interesting messages, and I'm tempted not to read a lot because, you know, people interpreting what happened yesterday in a different way. Somebody talking about the taxpayers' money and all that. Somebody also asking on WhatsApp why people were leaving when the president was still talking. It looks like we have Dr. Edward Brenya on the line, do we?
Yes, we do.
Yes, sir. Thanks a lot for your time again today. And I was asking, the massive crowd and the supports, could that translate to a one-touch win for the NDC?
Good morning, and good morning to the able listeners. As I indicated at the studio yesterday, it is too early to call. I think the objective yesterday was to portray the MPP as the NDC as a united party. And I think that was perfectly done. The crowd was to show to the world, the Ghanaians and the world, that it's not just the opposition leader that can mobilize crowd, that they can also amass crowd. That was perfectly done. As whether that is enough to show that the NDC can actually get a one-touch win in December 7, that is too early to call. I've said that the game is still 50-50. The best campaigner, the best political party that mobilizes the people, the best person that sends out his message to the people will be the one that is crowned the winner on December 7. It is too early to call.
There was some kind of stress on unity yesterday. I'm sure observing from where you sat yesterday, you could also feel the unity in the party. Does that make such a big difference with the MPP and NDC?
I'm sorry?
Yeah, I was asking the kind of difference that makes within the two political parties.
It does make a difference because if you realize what was going on yesterday, and from the comment of the founder, he said that when the president's wife sat by him, he asked that there wasn't going to be any boom statement. You realize that, I don't know if it was the comment of the president's wife that actually prevented Rawlings from going further beyond what he said yesterday by pointing to the fact that the NDC needs to be observant of where they came from, that if they deviate from the principle that brought them far, they may be like the opposition party, which in other words remain in opposition for a long time. And he also said that he's keeping his word until after the election. Even though he did not really get into the specifics, you realize that he was telling them, oh, it's not well in the party and something needs to be done. the unity was very important. It is very important.
Hello, Dr. Brenya.
Because then they could then portray the other side. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Sure.
Yes. I'm saying that by portraying their unity, they're actually reaching out to the grassroots. Remember, the Munte 3 brought a lot of grievances among their supporters. And it was a time for them to know that all is well, we are united, we are moving forward, we don't have Rawlings faction, we don't have John Mahama faction, and that we're moving into 2016 as a united party to win. And then they portray the other party as a party that's disunited, which would have been advantageous to them. Advantageous to them, not disadvantageous. So I think that it is very crucial. It is very crucial both for their supporters and for the independent voters that they are a united party and they are able to lead.
What kind of response do you expect for us to get from the NPP? We still are not sure if they're also going to launch their campaign in the same formats.
It is interesting. Yes, the politics of Ghana has been a politics of copying. I would expect that not probably in the same manner that the NDC did it, but something that is very similar. Something that is very, but we're going to get from social media and from supporters responding, and some of
Hello, Dr. Brenya. The line is not very clear now. Okay, we seem to have... Hello?
I'm really sorry. There was a call coming in.
Okay,
I'm doing the
sure.
stuff on my phone.
I can hear you clearly now. It's stable now.
Yes. So what we're likely to get is what is happening. People responding to the personality attack on Nana Akufo-Addo. There is comparison between Nana Addo and President Mahama, which is coming directly from Van der Poel's speech about the short man wearing glasses, not giving him a seat, and people are comparing Nana Addo to Mahama, saying Nana Addo is short, he's not corrupt, Mahama is long, all
there's also the palm wine, you know.
I'm sorry?
I was also just saying that there's also the palm wine analogy of you want us to let you try. This is not like some palm wine that you come and try and, you know, if it doesn't work out, then what do we do? Hello? Okay, well, our connection with Dr. Edward Brenya, we just lost it again, but he's a lecturer with the Department of History and Political Science with Cairn USD. You were fortunate enough. It looks like, do we still have him on? Do we still have a good connection with Dr. Brenya?
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Hello, sir, if you can hear me. Hello? So we're talking to Dr. Brenya via Skype now, and our connection is not really strong now. But I think what he said, if you box that up with the time he spent with you yesterday and the things that you said, the politics we're doing now is more of a photocopy. So we're likely to see the NPP respond in a similar fashion.
Yes, we're likely to see, but it's also because the NPP is a replica of the NDC. The NPP has been in power for 8 years, and of course the NDC has had an extra 2 terms, 8-year period again. That's the NDC, and so it's as if A is not good enough, B, which has the same experience, will be good enough. So what the analysts and the political scientists like Dr. Brenya and Ali Duseidu and also Malik Dabo tried to do was just to say that the NDC is now trying to do some level of equalization, but also try to do enough communication in terms of propaganda terms to try to see how they can paint the negatives of their opponents in such a way that it would discourage would-be very neutral voters from liking that very opposition candidate. And that is basically what they did in prelude to the main speech by the president. Because you could see that before the president came, many of the speeches were all politics and very political.
I don't know, is it a new strategy to let the ministers all come up and say, some key ministers come up and say what they've been doing in the ministry all as well? I was surprised, a bit surprised to hear Alex Segbefia speak the way that he did. I mean, he says something that they are doing or something that they've done, and you say JM Twaso.
I was surprised too, but for example, Dr. Lidu said because the economy was bad, the best message they could sell was that they have the best infrastructure, or they have had a good strategy for infrastructure provision in Ghana. So that's their key message. And then the negatives for the opposition, and so we couldn't have expected anything less.
Well, we said we want an election based on issues. We have issues, don't we?
Yes,
we just have to cross-check the facts.
We actually do have a lot of issues to talk about, because the thing is, infrastructure, albeit subjectively, has been provided by the government in power, but also it's at the expense of how well the economy would provide enough incentives for the private sector to thrive and people's livelihoods and revenue to be generated and improved. So that is a key message also for the opposition. The economy is not well, your livelihoods are not good enough, and providing infrastructure as the government is doing is not good enough. And the other message is, you personally, you're not good enough. You're not good enough by organizing your party, and then you're not good enough to criticizing us that the economy is not good because we have provided basic social infrastructure.
We'll see how this goes, but be sure that for the next couple of days, if not weeks, we will be holding on to...
Yeah. But it's good because we have less than 4 months to go for the election. So we need a very heated atmosphere for which people can read in between the lines and make choices.
So we'll have a lot of issues, a lot of things to say coming out, even out of Cape Coast.
Of good value.
It's interesting. We'll see how the NPP responds to this massive show of unity from the NDC.
All right, so now we have to bring you entertainment, and it's up next.